So pretty much every day I get asked the question, what is the difference between a good singer and an amazing singer? Or what's the difference between an amateur singer, like a karaoke Tuesday night type dude, and a professional Grammy award winning singer, an Ariana Grande, a Justin Bieber, a Bruno Mars? And also, is it even possible to go from kind of amateur level to absolute beast? Well, I'm here to answer all that and hopefully give you a couple singing tips along the way so that next time you're singing in the shower, you sound like a damn god. Listen up, it's your boy Harry J. I'm a professional recording artist, music producer, and vocal coach, and I'm here to answer some pretty big questions today about singing. So this is probably one of the questions I get more than anything else is, what's the difference between an amateur singer and a pro? And is it possible for an amateur to become a professional singer? And I don't mean like release a song that goes viral on TikTok and then suddenly you're a singer. Like, nah, you know what I mean? I'm talking, can someone who sounds like a C+ sound like a straight A student? Can you go from Ice JJ Fish to Bruno Mars? So first and foremost, there are 3 pillars that differentiate a high-level professional, like absolutely amazing singer from an amateur sort of mid-tier singer. And those 3 tiers are tone, accessibility to their upper register, and flair. Some of you might be saying, well, what about like I can't sing the notes in key and my pitch isn't good? That's not really an amateur singer thing. That's like a beginner singer thing. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. Beginners usually need to learn like the basics, how to breathe properly, how to sing in key. An amateur should be able to get up in, a karaoke setting or like in front of their friends or something and sound half decent. You know what I'm saying? So let's break down each of these 3 pillars and talk about the amateur singer versus the professional. So the first one is tone. Tone to me is kind of a combination of the timbre of your voice, what your voice sounds like, and the placement of your voice, where it kind of resonates from. I find really, really high class, high quality singers, again, the Bruno Marses, the Brendan Urys, the Arianas, they all come with a very unique tone and also a very rich forward placement. Tone is one of those things that we can kind of find through vowel manipulation. So if we think about Bruno Mars, for example, maybe a standard singing tone, I ain't playing no games, every word that I say. That's okay, but he's really using that kind of more elongated vowel sound and sort of a whiny sort of sob in his voice to get a little more emotion out of it. I ain't playing no games, every word that I say. There's definitely a difference there. You see what I'm saying? The tone of me singing sort of at a professional level comes with a little more emotion than just sort of a flat robotic, I ain't playing no game. Every really iconic singer has a very distinctive tone. You know what Freddie Mercury sounds like, and you know what Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin sounds like. Both iconic, both very different, but the second you hear them singing, you're like, oh, hell yeah, like, I know who that is. Now, the placement part can be learned much quicker than tone. Tone is something that you have to develop over a long period of time, finding your actual voice. Every really high-class singer that I work with, that I'm familiar with, and that I hear and think sounds really, really good, has very robust forward placement. Their voice sort of rings out of the front of their face, right? They're usually singing with a mixed voice, which is something that's really hard to find, but not if you use my method. It's actually really easy if you learn with me. But you'll notice all of them have this like super bright kind of pingy forward placement, and it always sounds like their voices are like cutting through a mix, right? So again, if we go back to Bruno Mars, I sit by myself talking to the moon. That's really bright and pingy and forward. That's gonna cut through the rest of the band in a mix, you know what I'm saying? Versus something that's not quite as bright and forward. I sit by myself, talking to the moon. That's really beautiful and pretty, but it's a little broken up and it doesn't showcase those kind of powerhouse vocals that I think we associate with like super top tier singers. Now that's not to say that there are some amazing singers who sing a little bit softer. Ariana Grande often sings with a little bit of a softer tone. However, there's still a bite to her voice, right? There's still like kind of a forward presence that cuts through the mix. You can always really hear, even live, you can really hear her above the band. And that's not just like a mixing thing. Like her voice has a pinginess and a twang to it that just allows it to cut through, even when she's kind of singing in the back and a little softer. Now, number 2 is access to their upper range. To me, every like world-class S-tier singer has really good access to their upper register through the use of the aforementioned mixed voice. Shout out the word aforementioned. Great word. But yeah, every really, really kind of S-tier singer that I can think of has access to that sort of stratospheric, like difficult to find range. So for a man, typically anything above like a G4 up to maybe a C5 or even a D5, that's that sort of moneymaker range. Like if you're singing up there as a dude, you're gonna be caking. You know what I'm saying? Wow! females, it usually stretches up a little bit higher, kind of like maybe A up to E, F, F sharp, somewhere up there. That is high as. But that's a big differentiator to me between like an amateur or like a good singer and like a master vocalist, you know? Someone I really like to listen to is Avery Wilson. I see his videos circulating on TikTok and Instagram. He is a master of his mixed voice. He can get up above, you know, C5 with no problem. He just darts right up to it. Now, everybody's a little bit different. Like some people don't stretch above C. Some people C is their ceiling. But to me, if you can reach at least half the notes in that sort of moneymaker range, which again, for a guy is like G4 to C5, for a gal it's maybe A4 to like E5, something like that. Like Justin Bieber, I hear him go up to maybe C at the very, very highest, and only sometimes, but that still gives him that sort of edge of like, people are like, whoa, how the hell does he do that? That's crazy. And I think that's really what it boils down to. Like really good singers can thread that needle between making songs that are singable, that everyone can sing along to, but also leaving room for people to be like, damn, that's crazy. Like that's a super high note. Like you want to give them a talking point. And those upper register notes are usually that talking point. Which leads me into the third and final point, which is flair. So like, what the hell does that mean, flair? To me, it's a singer's inherent ability to make choices that make their voice stand out. So like I said, you want to give fans or listeners of your voice and your music something to talk about, like, yo, that fucking high note, that's crazy. It's not just the high notes though. Riffs, emotional choices with your voice, a really strong break between your chest voice and your head voice or your falsetto, maybe a gravelly texture that you can lean into. Some sort of like sixth sense, third tier, tertiary thing that you can lean into that other singers don't have. So if I think of Freddie Mercury, right? Incredible range, can hit the high notes, super unique tone. Like we all know what Freddie Mercury sounds like, but also this really beautiful, rich falsetto head texture, right? Love of my life, you've heard me. You've broken my heart. That's his sort of tertiary intangible flair, right? Usher, amazing singer, great range, really, really unique tone, amazing ability to riff. He can pass through the different registers of his voice very, very quickly with like no effort. And he's very creative when it comes to riffs. Similar to Beyonce, another like S-tier singer, like one of the greatest ever. Her choices with her riffs, like the ego riff, like, oh my God. Her ability to move through the ranges of her voice that quickly and with that much like precision and decisiveness, that's that kind of third tier level of flair. One more cool example is Chris Stapleton, right? Like super gravelly voice, but still hits those clean upper notes, but he's able to put a little vocal fry into it. Girl, you're smooth. He has a little bit of that kind of sound to it. Something that just differentiates you, but isn't just a basic like tonal sound or just your range. So that's my takeaway. Now, the final piece to this is, can an amateur become kind of an S-tier singer? The answer is, yeah, dude, why the hell not? Now, professional level means something different to everybody. Chris Stapleton is never gonna sound like Brendan Urie, is never gonna sound like Ariana Grande, is never gonna sound like Beyonce. They're all different. But with the right training and the right patience, I have to emphasize this, guys, this takes time. Stop rushing that. It takes time. It takes sometimes years of training to get from here to here. Beginner to amateur is a much easier step to make, right? Learning to sing in key, learning how to breathe, but understanding the sort of muscle intricacies that it takes in your voice to learn how to riff, to learn how to belt, how to use your mixed voice, all those things takes a long time and a lot of patience. I get a lot of people who come to me like, yo, I got 2 months. Can I learn how to go from like 0 to hero? Like, no, dude. I can get you sounding okay, but unless you're like God's given gift to vocalizing, it's gonna take a little bit more than 2 months, you know? Now, again, that is not to discourage you. It can be done. Ed Sheeran, great example of someone who really could not sing at all, took some time through many years, moved through the phases, and now he's fucking Ed Sheeran, right? Sounds pretty damn good. Someone that I would say has become sort of in that upper tier of singers. He's got a very unique voice. He can sing really, really high. He can do a lot of cool stuff with his voice. So never give up on your dreams. That's the main thing, right? Anyone can learn how to sing, but remember, it takes hard work, patience, and a little bit of that can-do attitude. Y'all know what I mean? If you guys have enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, share it with a friend. I'm really excited to grow this channel. I'm gonna start sharing some music theory tips, guitar, a lot more singing tips, and I'm really stoked to help you guys all on your musical journeys. If y'all are looking for a nice little holiday gift, I'm running a huge discount on my vocal course right now. Link and code are in the description. Get it now because it's not gonna last forever. This is probably the greatest teaching aid I could ever create. It's 49 video lessons that go through each one of these topics: tone, singing, placement, mixed voice, belting, riffing, and it's a quick little digestible course that will get you from point A to point B, or even point B to point C pretty quickly. And I'm running a fatty discount right now, baby. So with that being said, I'll catch up with you guys next time.